I bought my vacant lot months ago with one simple goal: freedom. No HOA fines, no committees, no rules about grass length or mailbox color. Just a clean piece of land to enjoy and maybe build a small cabin someday. I checked everything twice: deed, survey, county records. The property was clearly mine, entirely outside any HOA jurisdiction. Life was peaceful at first. Then the trucks arrived. One morning, I noticed workers unloading construction materials at the far corner of my property. At first, I thought maybe it was a neighbor starting a project on their land. But as I got closer, my stomach sank. They were laying down concrete, plumbing, tiles. They were building a pool right on my property. And the plans had HOA stamps all over them. I couldn't believe it. I called the HOA immediately. Their president answered, smirking as if they had every right. "It's just an addition to the community. You'll thank us later," she said. I laughed. No, I didn't. My property. My land. No permission was given. No survey check, no consent, nothing. They just assumed that building illegally on someone else's land was acceptable. Over the next few days, things escalated. Workers poured concrete, installed plumbing, started framing the pool. I tried reasoning with them. I showed the survey. I explained county boundaries. I even called the local zoning office. But the HOA didn't care. The president said I was overreacting and insisted the pool belonged there. By week 2, it was obvious they had no intention of stopping. The pool was taking shape, tiles gleaming, water pumps installed, fancy lounge areas. And I was standing there helpless, except I wasn't. I knew one thing. If I waited, undoing this would be even harder. And they had already shown they had no respect for my property. So I made a decision that changed everything. I called a contractor I trusted, got the bulldozer on site, and started tearing it down. Concrete, plumbing, tile, all of it. I documented every moment with photos and video, just in case the HOA tried to spin the story. By the time the HOA president realized what was happening, it was already gone. Completely. Nothing remained but the dirt underneath. The moment I finished, her phone calls started. Emails. Threats. Claims of damages. And finally, the one I'd been expecting, a lawsuit. It was about to get messy. The lawsuit arrived a week later. Thick, formal, and intimidating. The HOA claimed I had caused irreparable damage to community property, demanded tens of thousands in compensation, and insisted I pay attorney fees. Every line of that paper reeked of entitlement. Their pool was community property, they said. Even though I owned the land. Even though county maps proved it. Even though I had documented every step. I called my attorney immediately. He read through the complaint and raised an eyebrow. "They're aggressive," he said. "But they're also reckless. There's no legal basis here." That gave me a small thrill. They thought they could bully me, file a lawsuit, and scare me into paying. What they didn't know was that every email, every construction photo, every video I'd taken of the pool going up was now ammunition. The next few days were a whirlwind. The HOA president sent a barrage of emails, demanding immediate mediation. She showed up at my property unannounced multiple times, camera in hand, filming evidence of supposed destruction. Neighbors began gossiping. Some were sympathetic, some were worried about backlash. One afternoon, their attorney finally called. The tone was thinly veiled frustration. "We can resolve this amicably," he said. "If you just agree to cover part of the costs." I didn't respond. Instead, I focused on building my case. Survey maps, permit records, photographs, time-stamped video, every piece of evidence made the HOA's claim weaker and weaker. The county zoning office confirmed once again that the pool had been entirely unauthorized. They even noted that the HOA had no jurisdiction over my property whatsoever. Meanwhile, the HOA's communication became more desperate. Threats escalated into accusations of harassment. I received letters claiming I was intimidating HOA members by simply standing on my own property and documenting my land. Emails started showing up with bold, all-caps warnings about community safety and legal consequences. I smiled, because each attempt to intimidate me only added weight to my side of the case. I wasn't just defending a bulldozed pool, I was defending property rights and exposing an HOA gone rogue. Then came the public confrontation. At a neighborhood meeting, the HOA president attempted to rally support. She presented photos of the destroyed pool, claiming it was a communal loss and framing herself as a victim. I was ready. I displayed the official survey, county maps, and time-stamped videos. The room went silent. Board members exchanged uncomfortable glances. Even loyal neighbors couldn't ignore the facts. By the end of the night, the president's smug demeanor was gone. Emails and threats had failed. Their lawsuit remained, but now it was clear. The HOA had overstepped in a way they couldn't easily spin. And that was when the pressure began to mount on them. The next move would decide everything. The HOA didn't back down. If anything, they became more reckless. Within a week, their attorney filed a motion demanding I pay for alleged damages immediately and sought a temporary injunction to prevent me from interfering with HOA property. Essentially, they were claiming ownership of a pool they had built illegally on my land. The audacity was staggering. The morning I received the court notice, I felt calm. My attorney assured me we had overwhelming evidence, surveys proving my ownership, time-stamped photos showing the pool going up without my permission, county zoning letters confirming no HOA jurisdiction, and video footage of me documenting everything. Every piece of their claim could be dismantled. Then came the real pressure tactic. The HOA tried to paint me as the aggressor. They circulated emails to neighbors, claiming I had intimidated workers and threatened HOA members. They wanted public opinion on their side, trying to make me look like a villain. I knew better. The first day of the pre-trial deposition arrived. The HOA president looked confident, walking into the conference room like she owned the place. But as soon as the attorney asked her about property lines, permits, and approvals, the smirk faded. She hesitated. She contradicted herself multiple times. Every answer she gave only reinforced the evidence I already had. By the end of the session, her demeanor had shifted from arrogance to panic. She realized that her own words were being recorded, time-stamped, and could be used against her in court. The HOA board members, many of whom had been quietly skeptical from the start, exchanged uneasy glances. That was the turning point. Within days, the HOA tried to settle quietly. Their offer was small, a fraction of the fines and legal fees they'd threatened me with. But the catch? They demanded I sign a non-disclosure agreement and essentially admit wrongdoing. My attorney laughed when he read it, signing that would have legitimized their entire fraud. I refused. Instead, we countered. Every email, every photo, every video, every county confirmation was presented as evidence in court filings. The narrative flipped. Suddenly, the HOA was on defense. Their claims were baseless. Their actions, unauthorized construction, trespass, harassment, were clearly documented. Neighbors began talking openly now. Some came forward to testify that they had seen the pool built on my lot and heard the HOA president's repeated claims that my property could be managed by the HOA. Their statements strengthened my case further. By the time we approached the court hearing, the power dynamic had completely shifted. What began as a bullying attempt by a rogue HOA president had become a legal and moral trap, one they couldn't walk away from. And the day the judge finally reviewed all the evidence, the entire room realized just how badly the HOA had miscalculated. The court hearing was tense. The HOA president arrived with her attorney, brimming with overconfidence, expecting a quick victory. I, on the other hand, felt calm. Every email, photo, and video I had documented over the past weeks was laid out, organized, and ready to present. The judge called the hearing to order. First, the HOA president spoke, claiming the pool was a community improvement and that my bulldozing it was destruction of property. She tried to emphasize their version of events, hoping her tone alone would convince the court. Then my attorney began presenting the facts. Maps showing my property boundaries. County zoning documents confirming the pool was unauthorized. Time-stamped video footage of the construction, and most importantly, records proving I had repeatedly notified the HOA that the lot was private. Each piece of evidence landed like a hammer, dismantling their story. The president's confident posture faltered. Her words became defensive, inconsistent. When questioned about permits, approvals, or prior consent, she had nothing to present. Even her attorneys struggled to salvage credibility. Then came the neighborhood testimonies. Several residents stepped forward to confirm what they had witnessed: the pool being built without permission, the HOA president making threats, and my repeated attempts to resolve the situation calmly. The court notes captured it all. By the end of the hearing, the judge's expression was firm. She didn't need theatrics or drama. Facts were enough. The ruling was clear. The HOA had no authority over my property, the pool had been built illegally, and I was within my rights to remove it. Furthermore, the judge noted that the HOA's actions, unauthorized construction, harassment, and false claims, constituted a violation of my property rights. She ordered the HOA to cover all legal fees and cease any further contact regarding the lot. The HOA president's face went pale. This wasn't just a loss, it was public humiliation. Board members shuffled awkwardly, and the reality of their overreach was undeniable. Their arrogance had backfired spectacularly. After the ruling, the HOA sent a formal letter of apology. They agreed to never intervene on my property again. The pool remnants were fully documented for records, and I ensured the land was restored to its original condition. That day, I realized something crucial. Some people only respect boundaries when they are enforced decisively. My lot, my rules, and the law backed me up completely. By the time the HOA president left the courthouse, her smirk was gone. She had learned a lesson the hard way. Entitlement only lasts until someone stands their ground and documents every step along the way. The aftermath was satisfying and decisive. After the court ruling, the HOA president was forced to resign from her position. Board members who had supported her were reprimanded, and the HOA itself underwent an internal restructuring to prevent future overreach. They had learned the hard way that ignoring property rights has consequences. I received formal documentation confirming my rights to the lot, and the HOA was legally prohibited from any further interference. My attorney ensured that all letters, emails, and threats were logged as part of the official record, creating a permanent paper trail proving the HOA's misconduct. Neighbors who had once avoided me now approached respectfully. Some apologized for believing the HOA's exaggerated claims. Others admitted they had been quietly documenting incidents as well, afraid to speak out. The atmosphere around my property shifted, from tense and hostile to calm and respectful. Even more satisfying was the financial aspect. The HOA was ordered to reimburse me for all legal fees, survey costs, and damages associated with the unauthorized pool. The cost to their arrogance and overreach became painfully tangible. It was a hard lesson for them. Taking liberties with someone else's property doesn't pay, it costs. The lot itself returned to a peaceful state. Grass was restored, the land cleared, and I finally had the freedom I had envisioned when I bought it. No cameras, no cones, no illegal structures. Just my property, untouched by anyone else's authority. But the story didn't end there. The HOA president, now personally liable for her actions, faced reputational damage in the community. Word spread about the court's ruling, and her attempts to regain influence or authority were met with skepticism. She had gambled on intimidation and entitlement and lost. For me, the experience reinforced one simple truth: documenting everything, knowing your rights, and standing firm against unlawful or overreaching authority is the most powerful tool a homeowner can have. You don't have to be loud or vindictive. You just have to be prepared, patient, and precise. And so, my vacant lot remained mine. The HOA learned the limits of their power. And anyone watching this story should take note. When someone encroaches on your property or tries to assert authority where it doesn't belong, the law is your strongest ally. In the end, justice wasn't just served, it was undeniable.